The unspoken snub. Bill Maher just called out Jimmy Kimmel, and it's deeper than a thank you. Have you ever stuck your neck out for someone? We've all been there. A colleague is in hot water, a friend is getting dragged online, and you decide to step in. You don't even fully agree with what they did, but you defend their right to do it. You take a stand for them, publicly, knowing you might catch some of the shrapnel. You do it because it's the right thing to do. And then, crickets. Not just a quiet thanks, but a loud, echoing silence. That person gets up and thanks everyone else. Everyone but you. That's the sting of betrayal. It's a personal, painful snub. And it's exactly what Bill Maher is feeling right now, courtesy of his late-night compatriot, Jimmy Kimmel. In the small, insulated world of late-night comedy, this isn't just gossip. It's a seismic event. And Maher just put it all on blast. He thanked everybody but me. On the latest episode of his Club Random podcast, Maher, joined by guest Michael Rappaport, didn't mince words. The filter was off and the frustration was palpable. The topic turned to Jimmy Kimmel, and Maher laid it bare. "Look, Jimmy apparently doesn't like me too much anymore," Maher said, stating plainly what others had only whispered. The reason? Because he thanked everybody but me. And I was adamant about supporting him that week and the next week. This wasn't just a casual defense. Maher went to bat for Kimmel during his recent suspension from ABC. Let's rewind the tape so we all understand what Maher put on the line. Kimmel found himself in the crosshairs after making a deeply controversial comment about conservative activist Charlie Kirk's alleged killer, Tyler Robinson. Kimmel suggested on air that Robinson was likely a Trump supporter. The problem? That claim unraveled almost immediately. Reports quickly surfaced indicating that Robinson actually had leftist leanings, not right-wing ones. It was a major, unforced error, and the backlash was instant. ABC, feeling the immense pressure, pulled the plug and suspended Jimmy Kimmel Live. This is where Bill Maher stepped in. On his own HBO show, Real Time, Maher dedicated a significant portion of his monologue to defending Kimmel. He didn't just defend him, he attacked the network for pulling him. ABC, they are steady, Maher quipped, setting up the punchline. ABC stands for always be caving. It was a classic Maher move, a sharp, witty defense of free speech, even speech he disagreed with. He then turned directly to his suspended friend, offering a message of solidarity, albeit with a signature Maher jab. "So Jimmy, pal, I am with you. I support you," Maher declared. And on the bright side, you don't have to pretend anymore that you like Disneyland. It was the perfect defense. It supported the man, slammed the corporation, and still got a laugh. The principle and the pain. Here's what makes the snub so much worse. Maher wasn't just blindly supporting a fellow liberal. In fact, he explicitly stated that Kimmel was wrong on the facts. "Look, I don't think what he said was exactly right. I don't," Maher admitted on Real Time, and he repeated it on his podcast. "Like I said, I can't lie and say I think what he said was accurate." But that, in Maher's mind, wasn't the point. He shouldn't lose his job for it. This wasn't about loyalty to a friend. It was about loyalty to a principle. The principle that comedians should be allowed to make mistakes, even big ones, without being canceled or yanked off the air. And if there is anyone in television who knows what that feels like, it's Bill Maher. Maher himself was famously fired by, you guessed it, ABC. Back in 2002, in the raw, supercharged atmosphere after 9/11, Maher made comments about the hijackers that the network deemed unacceptable. He lost his show, politically incorrect. He knows exactly what it feels like to have the corporate guillotine fall. He knows what it's like to be the pariah. So, for him to stand on his new platform at HBO and defend Kimmel, who was employed by the very same network that had fired him, was a massive statement. He was defending his peer from his old executioner. And for that, he got nothing. Silence. An omission so loud it felt like a statement. Maher's defense of Kimmel wasn't just passionate, it was personal. He was, in effect, relitigating his own firing, arguing for the very grace that he himself was never shown. To have that act of solidarity completely ignored must have felt like a slap in the face. This isn't about a thank you. It's about a capture. But if you think this is just about Bill Maher's hurt feelings, you're missing the real explosion. The snub was just the fuse. The real bomb Maher wanted to drop was about the entire state of late-night television. After venting about the personal slight, Maher zoomed out, explaining to Rappaport why he and Kimmel probably aren't on the same page anymore, and why, frankly, he has a problem with almost all the mainstream hosts. My problem with him and hosts like that, quite frankly, they're all quite similar in this regard, is that they're ideologically captured by one side, he declared. This is the core of the issue. Maher, who still sees himself as an old-school liberal, has watched the landscape of late-night comedy shift from one of equal opportunity offending to one of, in his view, partisan clapter. He sees hosts like Kimmel, Stephen Colbert, and Seth Meyers as no longer being court jesters speaking truth to power, but as cheerleaders for one specific political team. It's just not what I do or what I'm doing, Maher said, drawing a firm line in the sand between his show and theirs. He argues that these shows have become very predictable. They preach to the choir, comforting their progressive audience while demonizing the other side. And Maher, who prides himself on challenging his own audience, sees this as a betrayal of what comedy is supposed to be. More importantly, he sees it as a terrible business strategy. And so, there's a reason why half the country feels insulted by them and is turned off to them, he said. Because it's just one very predictable point of view. This is the great divide. Maher believes he's one of the last ones left in the middle, willing to call out wokeness on the left just as fiercely as he calls out demagoguery on the right. He believes the other hosts have been captured by an ideology that demands purity, an ideology that doesn't allow Kimmel to thank someone like Maher. Perhaps thanking Maher, who constantly critiques the far left, would have been seen as a betrayal by Kimmel's own captured audience. So, while the headlines will read, "Maher angry he wasn't thanked," the real story is much deeper. It's about a man who feels he's losing his entire industry to a rigid, unforgiving ideology. The personal snub from Kimmel wasn't just rude, it was proof. It was the perfect example of the very ideological capture he's been warning about for years. The divide in late night is no longer just a crack, it's a chasm. And Bill Maher just stood at the edge and yelled into it, letting everyone know just how deep it goes. Fox News Digital has reached out to Kimmel's representatives for a comment. As of now, the silence continues.